everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and now I'm going to talk about the top 10 welcoming games of 2023. Don't like the word gateway games. These are welcoming games to people that are new to the hobby or not really into hobby board gaming. They might have played, well, I want to say simple games like Scrabble or whatever, but some people played like games like Ticket to Ride and things like that. So they're kind of on their way into the hobby. But even if they're not, these are games that will work with virtually anyone, even non-gamers. I tried to avoid most party games for this list as well. But all right, so let's go ahead and start with number 10. All right, so my number 10 welcoming game is Seven Wonders Architects. Sounds weird. Seven Wonders, I don't think, I know some people use it as a welcoming game, but I don't, because I think Seven Wonders can get long and the rules can get fiddly. And Architects kind of streamlines it, and the whole thing on top of that, you are building this wonder on this statue in front of you. And that itself is so rewarding. And it's very simple as far as being able to choose which card you get and go back and forth. The rules are so light, but there's a lot of strategy in this because every single one you use has a different way of winning, very asymmetric. On top of that, the whole storage system in this is great. The way they come out and you're just ready to go at it. This one I actually enjoy more than Seven Wonders, so I will play this with gamers too, over Seven Wonders, over a lot of other ones, but I'll also play this with newer gamers and welcoming gamers to say, hey, try this. This is kind of a good kind of peek into the hobby. So this is Seven Wonders Architects. Okay, so number 9, and I'm almost kind of cheat because this is a reprint, but I'm putting in the top 10 welcoming games of 2023. But I got to because it's been redone and it looks really nice, and this is Raw. Raw! Raw! Raw is really, people are going to say overproduced. You can get a couple of different versions. The one I like is really, it looks so nice. But this is an auction game, and this is an auction game by Knizia. And this is really, really enjoyable, because we play this with new people as well, because the auction mechanic is one that pretty much everybody can grab onto. And then you're going to look at the board. All the iconography is really well done. So once you explain it, once you say it once, they're going to kind of know how to play. And on top of that, this game goes very quickly. Again, you want games that are fast moving when you start getting other people into the hobby. And this is one of them. And again, it looks great on the table. It's one of those that they see and they're like, wow, I would love to learn that one. Doesn't look overcomplicated. It's not overcomplicated, but it's great. It's Knizia at its best, and this is Raw. Okay, so my number 8 welcoming game is Junk Drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer, and this is a polyomino game where everyone has a junk drawer, and you're going to have to put different junk in your drawer. And it's really fun because everyone has the same items, and you get to, I like when everyone has to do the same things. And at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, we're doing the same thing. And then later in the game, you're like, we have really deviated somewhere and our boards look totally different. And that's the way this is. Cards are gonna flip, and you're going to place different items into a quadrant of your board. And as you place them in there, you are going to need to you can only place one in each time. And it's going to get more difficult and more difficult to fit those in there. But on top of that, you've got these point things in the middle that you're going to get for in-game. So you may need to keep all the more outside squares you have open, you're going to get more points, or more inside. So you want to position them to where you allow room for more stuff to go in that drawer, but you're also going to kind of maximize those in-game points you get at the end. All this in a very rules-light game, and a game that's very fun and colorful and looks really good. This is Junk Drawer. I love it. I have one. I have a junk drawer. 2 or 3. 8. Okay, so my number 7, a welcoming game of all time, is really weird to say this as a welcoming game. And this wasn't on my list until my wife brought it up. And I'm like, wow, she's right. We have a lot of non-gamer friends that we have played this with. And I reviewed this on the channel, and actually I probably would have gone up since then. This is Scream the Game. Scream the Game is pretty much a Scream the Game. It uses an app on your phone, and you're trying to get different sets to beat different locations. But the whole time is this phone is in the middle, and things happen. Like the killer could call you, and that it's really cool. And he will call you, and then he will show up different locations he is, and you may be at that location. And if so, you have to have cards ready to discard to be able to defeat him. But you're trying to do all this on a time where you've got to get it before he kills you guys. And it feels really good. And most people know the Scream genre. It's become one of the most iconic horror movies. So and we don't just play this at Halloween. We thought we would, but it's a fun party game. You can all gather around and have that phone in the middle and you keep going. It's pretty much a set collection as you're drawing cards, and you can trade back and forth and try to achieve objectives, really. But it's all about that app in the middle. A lot of fun. It's Scream the game. Surprised me. Okay, my number 6, speaking of games that surprised me, this is one that I saw and I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna like this game. And this is Rotten Tomatoes, the card game. Rotten Tomatoes, the card game, is pretty much like the Rotten Tomatoes where you rate movies, but it's like Timeline, where you're trying to put everything into a line and you're trying to judge the critics' score on certain movies. So if you see like Problem Child or whatever, you're like, okay, they obviously like that less than Independence Day or whatever. But then sometimes you're really thrown off when a game or in a movie, that you liked so much, the critics didn't. Or the flip side happens, right? Which happens a lot, where you're like, well, that movie was terrible, so that's going to be way down here. And like No Country for Old Men, that was a horrible movie. I'm going to put it down here. And they're like, oh no, that was like a 90%. You're like, was it though? Was it? No comments on how great the movie was. But so that it's really fun. And the best part is there's some variety cards in there that they'll switch it from you no longer go to critic score, you go to audience score. And that one I tend to be able to nail a bit better, audience rather than critics. But it's a lot of fun, and this game works as an icebreaker because as you bring those out, if you're having a party or whatever, and you have people that aren't real, you don't know very well, movies will kind of open them up. They're like, oh, I love that. I haven't seen it. What's it about? And you got that discussion. So I do like this Rotten Tomatoes, the card game. It's a good one. Okay, so my number 5 game of all time is one that the review should be out now or fairly shortly. It is similar to Kites, where it has like the timers as you flip over. This is called Quicksand. Quicksand is really, really enjoyable, and because it's a welcoming game, everyone can play it. And the whole thing is you're going to play different cards and flip different timers, and as you're doing it, you're trying to keep those timers flowing, and you're trying to achieve objectives, and there's so much variability in the games as you go round around. So everyone's involved trying to flip timers, and it's crazy. It gets very stressful. It's very quick. You're trying to move. So I understand some will not like this, but it's very rules light, and I love that chaos. It almost has a 5-minute dungeon feel with the timers. And out of all the different timer games that are out there, and there are a lot, from like Kites to Skyrockets, and they just keep coming out, but this one is my favorite in the genre. This is Quicksand. So if you like that style, everyone gather around and just like very frantic, put them down, flip the timers, go through, and you're going through different missions to get it done. This is a great switch on this. So this is Quicksand. Okay, so my number 4 top welcoming game is going to be Marvel United Spider-Geddon. And again, I always hesitate using these real big IPs because I'm like, the buy-in is so just massive on these. But Spider-Geddon is kind of what it is. You get it and you get everyone so you can be fine with that core box. So Marvel United is a very welcoming, easy game. And even with kids, because it's mainly iconography. They can see the icons about moving, hitting, and all that type of stuff. Heroic action. But all of this is really fun. Marvel United Spider-Geddon, I love the characters in it. I love the different villains in it. I think I think it's Dot, or whatever, I forgot the main guy's name, but I like the way he moves and jumps from place to place. This is I know people that have jumped in at this and kind of stayed there because this will sit on the shelf as is, and it's fun. It's people that just are used to that style of board game that just is cooperative but not overly complicated. And I think they did a good job with this, making it what it is, making it within the grasp of everyone, not just heavy gamers, medium gamers, light gamers. I think everyone likes a good game of Marvel United, and Spider-Geddon is great. Okay, number 3 is Dixit. But not just Dixit, Disney Dixit. Dixit is one of those games that's been around for a while, and it's really great. I love Dixit, I love Detective Club, I like all that whole genre. But Disney Dixit is fun. When you throw the Disney IP on it, I'm interested, but also wary. This one, it works. Disney Dixit actually works because those crazy, crazy drawings that normally go in the Dixit are still there, but they have a bit of a feel of a Disney feel, like a very dark style Disney. But it's really interesting. So Disney Dixit, the pictures are great, and Dixit itself you can explain very easily. So that's what I like about Dixit, Detective Club, all those. You can pretty much say, here's what's going to happen. Here's how you play. Let's do a round. There it is. Now you know how to play. And then the whole time, too, you're looking at that artwork. You're like, this is incredible. This looks really good. Especially people that just love Disney are going to adore this game. So it's very fun, and it brings Dixit back into everyone wanting to play it. So this is Disney Dixit. Okay, so number 2 is a great game. This one might seem like, I don't know if it's a welcoming game, but really it is, because it's Mad Max with cars. This is Thunder Road Vendetta. Thunder Road Vendetta looks really big, and it is really big, but it's really fun. I mean, really, the rules are so light. You are really just rolling, and it's just brutal, utter chaos. Because I liked Gaslands. I liked the game Gaslands, which is more the open style of game. But there were a lot of rules to that, shifting back and forth. But what I loved about it was that Mad Max style feel. This you get, and you're very simple. You're going through. You can complicate it more by adding a lot more of the variety of hazards, and you can kind of make this game as difficult as you want. Whether you've all that you can add, or you can say, look, here's how you play it. And you go at it, you give people cars, and you just go to town. And you let them know you're going to lose cars. And strategy might not win on this. It's just chaos and fun. This game is great. I know Alex Marks, who comes here to the studio, he's probably played this, I don't know, 4 dozen times. He always is ready to play this. And most people are. Setup is a bit tough, but setup on this is worth it. Setup looks really good. And this is Thunder Road Vendetta. Okay, my number 1 welcoming game is one that I reviewed here on the channel, and I think, honestly, this is the one that has gone up for me since the review. I need to update everything on BGG because this has gone up. This is Wandering Towers. Wandering Towers, wow, this game is great. It is one of those that we have played it so many times, so much we've actually gotten 3D printed towers now and painted, because we're playing it that much. The whole thing is you've got wizards that eventually your wizards are going to want to go into the wizard's keep or whatever. They want to go around there, and that's your whole goal. But as you do that, you're moving wizards and you're moving towers. So as you do that, it's almost like the shell game where you're going to be moving towers and you're going to cover other wizards. So your wizard could actually be on a tower, but another tower gets moved on top of it, right? So you have no visible wizard. So you have to remember, okay, my wizard's under that tower. Sounds easy, right? Well, later, that tower might be moved onto another tower. Now there's 3 towers. Somebody else might move another one on top of that one. Then they also might move the second to the top tower over. And now you're like, okay, I don't know where am I? And that's what's so fun. There's so many moments in that. Number 1, it's one that you cannot, people that are on their phone, you cannot be on your phone on this. Because if you're like, I'm just going to look up on my turn. You look up, you have no idea where you are. Even if you go to get a drink and you come back, you're like, where am I? Even when I sit there and I'm like, I know where I am, somebody will move a tower and you'll see your piece and you're like, thought I was over there. And that's really fun. And on top of that, when you pick up a tower, when you touch it, you have to use that because otherwise you see what's underneath there. And I love seeing that when they're like, all right, I thought I was there. And you've got to move that tower. This is a great game. This just came out again. This was like a last minute purchase for me. And I love this. I mean, I play this with people, gamers, and they're like, this is now one of my top 10 games of all time. You know, this is fantastic. This is Wandering Towers. It's a lot better than it should be. Okay, so there we go. There was my top 10 welcoming games of 2023. All right, thank you guys. Bye.